I think everybody has their own learning and unique experience. And it's really been an interesting experience for me because it's watched me understand my mind and how it works and the kind of the patterns that I play. So I can just imagine it's such a great way of helping people without talking.
Welcome today to another episode of Just Between Us. So lately, we've both been investigating two different things, which we wanted to talk to the one person who does both of them today about, because we've both been finding a lot of interesting and I don't know quite how to describe it, but hopefully as we go through this discussion, we'll be able to give a good idea. So today we had with us Liberty. And Liberty does waterflow therapy, which is what I've been obsessed with for the last 6 weeks or so. And I have a lot of questions for her about that and a lot of reflections on my experience about that. That might be really useful and helpful to people listening. And then Dana has been experiencing some of the other part of her work, which is all around womb steaming and helping women to come into a different connection and understanding of the womb space and their creativity and their cycles and all of this sort of stuff. So we should be in for, quite a lot of different places we can go in this discussion today. So welcome, Liberty.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
First off, I have to say though, your name Liberty, like fuck man, like it's in in Arabic I think of the word shakhsiya, like personality, and when I think of liberty, personal liberty. I remember we were on the beach and we were talking about your name doing the water flow therapy, and I thought, wow, because you do the womb steaming, and the womb is about getting to the power of your womb and in the power that it has and she has, like finding your own liberty, your own personal freedom. I thought, wow, how fitting that this is your name. That's what you kind of do for women and try to activate that for them. I don't know, I was just thinking that in the ocean. I remember after the water flow therapy, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
it's so true. And it's really been my compass throughout my life to live my liberty and now that I found my purpose, help other women find their liberty. And that's also why I named my brand She is Liberty, so that every woman can be free and live out their story of liberty, whatever that means. Yeah. I'm grateful for the name. It's been nice to have as a guide.
Yeah. And I love how you do it, like both of the, let's say, modalities, or I don't know, the things that you do, like the water flow therapy and the womb steaming, for example. The womb steaming, I've done both. Not as committed as Briar, obviously, who's done the water flow therapy for 6 weeks. I tried it once. I will continue to do it when you're back. But I find that both get in contact with your power in a different way. So I guess maybe we could start with water flow therapy, because I found that really interesting, because me and Briar both had a different experience. Let's say it's not even about different, but it's about like you always said when we did the first session, the water will show you what you need to know or something. And man, did it show me a lot of shit and good stuff too. So, and but it showed me kind of what I need to look at or need to work with and let go of in order to get in touch with my own liberty, really, like freedom, power, all that. And it's interesting, like I was telling you earlier, I'm like, well, other people did it and they just let go very fast. And I think everybody has their own learning and unique experience. And it's really been an interesting experience for me because it's watched me understand my mind and how it works and the kind of the patterns that I play. So I can just imagine it's such a great way of helping people without talking. I'm very used to talking and analyzing. I did it 3-4 weeks ago, and only like now I'm putting the pieces together of myself without talking through an activity that it just required being. And what I find more fascinating about that is my mind, or I don't think it was my body was responding. But I couldn't make sense of it. And it was very interesting how then the mind starts going to try to create a story, because it's like, I don't know,
So
you
cool.
know, and what unfolds later.
Yeah, it's super interesting as an experience and what it brings up. So maybe we could start with, could you step us through like what the modality is, where it comes from, how you learned to do it, and then what actually a typical session consists of? And then everyone listening will have an idea of kind of what we're, and then, yeah, I'd love to dig into our experiences with it because it was very affecting.
Yeah.
Cool.
So water flow therapy is what Pranshu and I are calling what we do. But so it comes from many different water-based therapies. It's all done in warm water. So the original water therapy that was kind of like created as a course that people could go and become practitioners was Watsu. Water therapy dates back to like the ancient times. People have always used water as a therapy, and warm water specifically. So Watsu was created by this man in California that was a shiatsu practitioner. So he did massage, Japanese massage, and he lived near hot springs. So he wanted to bring what he did into the water because he saw that warm water was really beneficial to the body and really opened up a lot of things. So that was kind of the original water therapy. And Watsu is all on the surface. So meaning your head's out of the water, the one that you like.
I might do that one next time. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's more like when you get deeper into just Watsu, there's a lot of like positions that you put the body in where you can massage different meridian points in the water. But nowadays, if you get a Watsu therapy anywhere in the world, you're not going to get Watsu. You're going to get like water flow or free flow. We call it, like everyone calls it free flow, where you mix different modalities that you've learned. Because from Watsu, like people who became Watsu practitioners created like the underwater part. So a Watsu practitioner created water dance. So introduced the nose clip and started bringing people underwater and saw more magical things happen when you go underwater. So basically what it is, it's a one-on-one therapy where the person is in the therapist's arms and I'm like moving you through the water, stretching, massaging, and then at a certain point, the nose clip goes on and then we go underwater. As you say, like the whole session is nonverbal. So it's all done with signs. So I give a sign when it's ready. It's time for you to breathe and hold your breath, and we go under. And really something magical happens underwater. Like time for me, I mean, everyone's experience is different and everyone gets to have their own journey, their own story. But for me, when I go underwater, everything stops. Like it's just me and my breath. Even the thoughts stop. And if something comes in, then I'm like, okay, what is it that's coming in? And I just feel the more and more I do it, like from the first session till how I am now, I can completely surrender. And I'm just like a leaf blowing in the wind or a seaweed flowing in the ocean, you know? And there's nothing, and even like, but still I can see, okay, where am I holding tension? Maybe it's in my neck. Maybe it's in my big toe, you know, and just allow it to go. Did I answer everything? I don't know. That's basically how, if you can picture what it's like.
Yeah. So cool. I want to go and do it again now. It's like, what's very interesting to me as a therapist is so many, like the water flow experience, why I got so about it, I think, is because it contains all of the processes, or a lot of them, that you're working with in therapy. So you're targeting control. You're trying to increase flexibility and surrender. You're working on trust. You're working on how a person responds to their triggers. You're working on the mind-body connection. You're working on the relationship with mind. You're working on emotion directly. You're triggering and signaling, I think, or stimulating rather than signaling, memories. The amount of people I've spoken to who've tried it, who had memories come up when they were especially under the water.
Mm.
And that happened to me too. Like just had like memories from childhood that I had not thought about.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny you should say seaweed because that was what my mind was doing. The last couple of times I tried was my mind was going, you're like seaweed. Like it was, and you just feel like you're just flowing around on the current, right?
Yeah.
You think about the way we live our daily lives, it's the opposite to this. We're pushing, we're striving, we're trying, and that's great in context. But how do we make balance for that?
Yeah. Or
This
where
way.
can we surrender within the structure?
Yeah.
Because things aren't always going to go according to plan, in life. But and that's where we get triggered or get upset is when things change or things go differently than we wanted or expected or whatever. So if you in the water, like I always bring myself back to the water, like, okay, it's okay. Like I can just flow,
Yeah, it increases your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're noticing, like you were saying to us before we started today, like it's not about achieving it. Like it's not about being the best letter goer, that you can be.
I'm going to force you to
Yeah, but and it's going to change time by time. Like it's not something that's even going to necessarily, it's not like you're learning a skill.
No.
But when you notice where you are blocked to letting go, that's a consciousness raising moment because it's okay. You can accept that. You can just say, okay, well, that's where I'm at today. But who's saying that is what I'm interested in. Like, what are you waking up? And so you know how I'm obsessed with waking up. You're in a therapist. This therapy, which the more and more I go on, the nonverbal therapies hold so much power. And I'm always obsessed with how to use language in a nonverbal therapy way, like how to reduce language to not be so dominant, to stimulate so much analysis. But this one I think is such a great complement to any kind of personal growth journey that somebody is on, because it's going to bring up stuff around control.
100%.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, like I think the reason that so much came up for you is because you're so ready to question everything. And what does this mean? And what does that mean? And others think, okay, I let go. Maybe they didn't let go as much as they thought they let go. But for them, they felt they let go and they felt relaxed. And that's the point. So me as a therapist, it's not my job to say you were tense. Actually, I don't normally say that because who am I to say what their experience was? It wasn't my experience. It was their experience. However, you were very much like, oh yeah, I'm holding my neck and I hold my neck in life and this and that and bring it like really digging, which is great. That's your journey, So I think that's important to know.
And it's interesting also. I find that I'm learning more about myself through not talking, through doing, like whether it's be yoga, like yoga has been a big thing recently that's helped me a lot because there's no talking. And then that day, and since that day, so much has come up in like conversation that I'm like, oh, interesting. That's what showed up for me, but it was all without talking. I think I'm quite strong as an analyzer, but I think sometimes I analyze to bypass an experience. And I think sometimes in this world that we live in, that like you were saying, values, doing, thinking, and solving, we sometimes bypass feeling, whereas the wisdom is in there, not really in here.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like just that whole experience of, like I'm so happy that these people I love tried and liked it. But then I was like, what do you mean they enjoy? Like my husband, I'm like, what do you mean you just let go? You just let go, like you just enjoyed it, like nothing happened. And then he's like, yeah, he's like a little bit, but then it was okay. And then I'm like, and then I was like, wow. And then then we were talking, and then I'm like, it's again that part of me that's like, why is it that I have to have a same experience as him? I am a different person.
Yeah.
And does that mean if I have the same experience, I'm good? I let go, and it's like allow the experience to be my experience. And it's like, oh, it's interesting. When do I, just that alone, just one of the many experiences I had on that in and of itself is something that will show itself to me.
Yeah.
It sort of tells that people do this with their mental and emotional health all the time. Like there's an assumed normal or an assumed good.
Yeah.
But there's not. It doesn't exist. You know, you just have the experience you're having. And if we could do that more with states like sadness or fear, we wouldn't wind ourselves into the places that we call disorder as often as we do.
Mm.
You know, because we could let it come and go like a wave.
Mm.
You know, that 96-second thing that they found out, that if you don't feed an emotion with a storyline or have reality stimulate it, it has about 96 seconds in it. It'll come on, it'll peak like a wave, and it'll go down. There was a really interesting talk by a neuroscientist who had a stroke called Jill Bolte-Taylor, and she talked about that, how she noticed that when she lost the left hemisphere of her brain temporarily. And so she was just all watching patterns of sensation. And so there's these waves that come. And I think that's what water flow really helps, is like you're in a particular move and then it finishes, and then you're in something else, and it's replicating the human experience, you know, and of course it's taking us back to womb space,
the womb,
which is your other work.
Yeah.
You're all womb and water.
Exactly.
But it's interesting because it's you said it earlier, like how well you respond to change. You know, the beginning, I'm sure a lot of people at the beginning when they first start, you know, you get all these thoughts, right? Like, oh, this, that, whatever. And then after, so I mean, I can give you my experience, but which is funny. But, you know, the beginning when I first started, I was saying, oh, you know, there's snakes. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get a snake. And then the snake, if it bites you in between your toes and you're fucked, you die, you go to hospital. I was thinking all these fucking things the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then, I don't know, I was just like, after 10 minutes, we were just flowing. This is when we're doing the up, like face
Surface.
Surface. And I'm like, if I'm meant to be bit by a snake, this is what's meant to happen. It's okay. I will be good. It was so good. Then I'm like, wow, I could do life this way. This could work for me. And I enjoyed it. Then a new thing came when we had to do underwater. Then it's like, oh, you know, and it's again how it was good awareness, how you respond to things. And I found doing more practices that are more body, less brain have helped me, still work in progress, try new things and be comfortable with like, oh, and all those thoughts that show up. And I feel maybe we need to do more of these things to build that muscle, because I don't know if talking about it all the time maybe is actually, okay, you're aware, but there's something that has to happen viscerally in the body that you keep doing, keep working, keep building, so that then it gets that part to feel safe. And it's like, we can do this. Because the brain can only know so much, but the body needs to know that, oh, we've done this many times before. We can do, when this feeling shows up, we can feel safe in the new, in the...
Yeah, and it's also a fine line of also respecting your own body and not pushing yourself too much, because I've also had clients that come and they're like, you know, at the end, they for whatever reason, they didn't want to go underwater. They couldn't go underwater. It scared them or whatever came up. So we continued. And then at the end, they said, you know, it was really important for me to honor that no in my body. And because in the past, I haven't. And I forced myself to do things that I was uncomfortable doing. And just that is huge, you know? And then, okay, maybe the next time they want to go further or not, you know, it's okay. So yeah, like...
And then finding that power within yourself to be like, okay, how much do I want to go and how much, you know, or not in this moment. Yeah, there's a power in that, right? Yeah. And I think linking that also, something in the womb, right? Like when you took us, I know we were moving into the womb space, and I feel that discernment is more from there. Or maybe I'm just making shit up. I don't know. But for me, every time when I think of what's my fuck yes and what's my fuck no, you know, when I want to do something or I connect there. And it's, I don't know. I intuitively feel that for me, it's that womb that's the knowing that's got me.
I feel the same. And some people might call it a gut feeling. Some people might call it, you know, some people talk to their, you know, yoni. Some people talk to, you know, I just think it's like, however it resonates with you to come through that voice, that guidance. For me, it really is the womb, because it's like the source of creation for women. Like so much happens there, and it's also so neglected and so not honored. But it's not just where we bring babies into this world. It's also how we can create our life, our reality, the reflection of what we want from this space if we work together with her. So yeah, it's a very powerful space in our body when we're in sync and aligned and have a relationship with her. I believe that.
Yeah, and I think like when we're building a relationship with her, we have to make her feel safe and secure. And so sometimes it's like, maybe I don't want to do that extra right now. Maybe, and maybe we can do it together. Like it's almost like being a partners together, so finding
like
that
trust.
power. Yeah, trusting. And that again will look different from person X, person B, person.
But yeah, going back to water flow in the womb, like a lot of people have the experience of being back in the womb or memories from the womb. Or I even had a client who was a C-section baby, and when she had her first water flow, she was like, wow, I feel like I reclaimed my birth. Like I got to choose, like rewrite my birth story to choose when to come up. Because there are moments where I will let you decide when to come up. So I'm not bringing you up, but I keep you right on the surface so that you can bring your head up yourself. And that can be very powerful, like as a birthing, like a rebirthing, because you are in control somehow. So it's really beautiful.
One bit that was really interesting for me that I got to notice is this piece about performing, because we're so reinforced for performing well, all of us, but women in very particular ways, right? The way we get approved of. And what I noticed is sort of a couple of sessions in, any fears I had about like going underwater, like which weren't really that big, and I don't have the fear of the snakes. Because
water snakes.
I grew up in Australia, right, where there actually are things that will actually eat you. So this to me is like, it's like a bathtub. It's like there's no great white shark like lurking. This is fine. So I didn't have those fears, but just the sensation of going under and water got my nose, or like this and this type of thing. I kind of got over that and relaxed with that after first. But then I noticed what crept in was, and also the trust thing, like getting to know you, and then the trust was there, like it's fine, But then what I noticed was this performance things creeped in. Like I want Liberty to think I'm doing it well, crept in. Like, we do this so subtly for each other. It's like, it's not that I think that you're critiquing me. It's that urge to please, right? So, if I go under and I really, and then I come up, you can't help but be a little bit like, is that what she wants me to do right now? How did I do? Does she want me to do that? And you get to watch that in real time. And most importantly, you're not there to solve it intellectually. You're there to learn to relax with it and not abandon yourself. And that's the sweet spot of it. And again, how it affects you, you're not in control of. This is it's a therapy, it's not a figure yourself out thing,
No, that's what I say. Like the water show, like you cannot be any other way than how you are in the water. There's no way. Even if you want to, you can't. And it's just the more you do it, and things change, because life is changing all the time. We are changing. I'm changing. You're changing. The water is changing. The day is changing. The astrology is changing, like everything. So yeah, it's
so true, because like in day-to-day waking life, there are so many ways we can mask ourselves.
Yeah.
With our inflection, with our way we dress, with the way we move, with what we even, just our facial expressions. But yeah, you put somebody in the water and they really are stripped bare, because you don't even have really control over your facial expressions. And your body's just, you can't.
It's doing what it's going to do.
Do what it's going to do, yeah.
Yesterday I had someone who she was moving like, or I don't know, but she didn't realize she was moving. And I've had it before.
Wow.
And one of our friends in Goa, we gave her a session and she was doing the same, like whole body, like going underwater and just taking over. And so I just go with it and I just move.
Oh, so actually doing movement under the water.
Like dancing or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And so our friend, I told her after, I was like, yeah, you were moving a lot. She's like, no, I wasn't. I was completely relaxed. I wasn't doing anything. I was like, yes, you. And then we showed her a video. And so the one I had yesterday was the same. And it just made me smile because it's like, it is what it is. Like there's no right or wrong. There's no this or that. And she was loving, like she was like, oh my God, I was so relaxed. I was like, yes, you were. And it's great.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's also your body shows you how it responds when it's relaxed and how it feels like when it's fully relaxed and how it feels like when it's tensed.
Yeah.
You know, because I got to experience just that fully relaxed nervous system. But then
when
also,
you were welcoming the snakes.
Yeah, when I was
that
welcoming
bit.
them, I was like, this is where I want to be in this kind of, you know. And then when I went underwater, and I was telling both of you, I was like, it's not like I told myself, oh, okay, where this is uncomfortable. I didn't even,
No.
I don't even think I thought, but I just naturally was going like inward. So I was tensing my neck and tensing my stomach. And those are the two areas in life that I generally struggle with. And it's interesting how the water was showing me that through trying something new. So it's like, wow, how much subconsciously am I responding in the world and thinking, oh, okay, but I'm okay, but my body is doing something. So it's just so interesting to see, whereas a relaxed nervous system feels a certain way, your body responds and behave or like acts a certain way in a relaxed nervous system, and it responds in a certain way and acts in a certain way when it's stressed. And it was interesting to see that, my body talking to me and showing me and being more aware of like, oh, wow, this is how I respond in the world in this way.
It's like you were saying before about trusting your body. Like for me, when you go under, we're so reliant on, breath. We're reliant on breath to live. But when you go under, the thought that that's not available to you, but the actual fact of your biology is that after you run out of oxygen, you can still go. Your body has available oxygen. It's just not going to feel the same.
Yeah.
And so trusting that, like trusting your body to do more than you think it can do.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the mind.
And so that is that was kind of an interesting shift to make. And so when I did it with you yesterday, that was my 4th time. I really felt it was different from the other times because I think that had happened. Like the going under the water, I was just way more chilled out to stay there.
Yeah.
And so therefore we were able to do more down there. And then the more we did down there, the more that was sort of creating a feedback loop, I guess, into
your body.
The body. And so the body was just going, this is it. This is cool. Because you see little babies, like they have no resistance to this stuff whatsoever. You see this footage of, teaching little tiny babies to swim. They'll watch that and they'll just go under and because they don't have a mind.
Yeah. And it's where we come from, right?
Yeah.
The womb, the warm waters of the womb.
Yeah.
So it's where we should.
So is that why we for some tense up when we go down? Is it again because it's unknown? Like it's like, oh, I don't know what this chick's gonna do to me, type thing,
It can be so many things, and that could be one. Yeah, the nervous system also. That's why I say don't just do it once, do it multiple times, because the first time your nervous system is like, what?
Yeah, it's trying to make sense.
What is going on? Can I trust this experience? Like underwater equals no air equals death equals,
Yeah.
And tell your body that with your mind, okay, but does your body trust you?
Yeah. Does your body trust you? Yeah.
Which many of our bodies don't, because we do so many things. We don't listen to that feeling in the stomach, that feeling in the neck. We don't, and our body's giving us signs all the time. Even our period is a sign, like so many things. But do we listen? And when we listen, our body trusts us. When we don't, it doesn't.
And the thing is, to listen, we have to be aware. A lot of times we're not even aware. We're not even consciously in the body to know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we talk about a lot, like our bodies, especially women's bodies, have been colonized. And so these type of therapies, I feel, more than talk therapy, help you to decolonize yourself, right? Reclaiming. And so that brings us to the other work you do, where you do these circles, right, with the womb steaming. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the womb steaming, how that works, where it comes from, why it's important?
Womb steaming or yoni steaming or vaginal steaming, pelvic steaming, it's known as all these things, is an ancient practice. Comes from everywhere and nowhere. Like if you look in your own culture's ancestry, you'll find that, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers did it, oftentimes for different reasons. It's most commonly still used in different places around the world for around birth, so like postpartum mainly. But basically what it is sitting over a pot of tea. There's different herbs that are good for different reasons, and you make a tea and then you sit over it, and the steam rises and hits your whole pelvic area. And basically what that does is it increases the circulation in your body, in your hormonal system. The healing properties of the herbs enter your skin, not just through your vagina, but through your skin. And there's a lot of blood vessels there. And then, of course, there's the ritual around steaming as well, which it's like a whole package, and all of it's important. But as women, I believe that the period or the menstrual cycle is like a fifth vital sign. So it's a map to how our body is actually feeling, if we're healthy or we're not, if we're balanced, if we're if we're living an aligned life, if we're living our truth. It all shows up in our menstrual cycle. So steaming can help balance that. So I work with women one-on-one. I do the circles, and then also you can just buy the products and continue to steam at home. But it helps with irregular menstrual cycles, painful periods, cysts, fibroids, infections. Basically anything you would want to go to a gynecologist for, you can try and address with steaming. It's not a magic pill, but it's like if you get sick, you're not going to run and take antibiotics, right? You might take some herbal teas or soups or natural remedies. This is that for our menstrual cycle, basically.
Wow.
Did that cover?
Yeah. Yeah. So you went and experienced this.
I really
Do you wanna
enjoyed it.
tell
Like
us?
what I loved, so I got the kit, and then I was like, I need to do it first in a group where it's all set up for me. All I do is just show up. And you're like, I do that actually once a week. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. So I came because I know you said during period, that's not the time to steam, right?
Yeah.
Then. And so I came, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like what I loved is when you sit on the box thingy. We did nothing. We just brought it. It was all ready. So I like that. And then we just sat, and you took us on a meditation while doing it. It was so nice. It felt very powerful because, you're, the womb, again, you think it's also your mother line, that your ancestors, it was such a nice meditation. And then you did the sound healing after. I was so zen. And actually, I'm glad I did it, because now I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it for myself. Now I know what to do. And it's easy peasy. But I definitely would still want to come to the women's circle, because it's just nice. You come, it's all set up. You come, and I find it very powerful. Like it's almost like you take a pause from the world. Well, you do, and you connect back to yourself, back to your womb, back, and stuff starts showing up. Like it's interesting. You were saying memories show up underwater. It's true. Like memories start showing up of your life, of your upbringing, your relationship with your mom. Like for me, a lot of things, and really nice things actually, started showing up, but also uncomfortable things started moving through me as well and I think it was just the stuff that for me was lingering the past few weeks that just needed to be processed and just given space without like trying to analyze it, just came out.
Yeah.
And I think the womb holds a lot.
Yeah. It holds, it remembers everything.
Yeah. It can be scary for people when they're connecting to her. They might experience some uncomfortable feelings, but that's not all. It's just the release of those feelings. I mean, actually paying attention to her. So with that comes also, you're seeing all aspects. Yes, you're seeing her power, but you're also releasing all these memories or all this pain. And it's also giving her space to share that.
Exactly.
To be seen, to be heard, to be loved, and to be appreciated. It's been, yeah, it's nice. And it's actually, I don't know, since then I've been having this feeling of I want to, for me personally, do more work in connecting to my motherland, like my, I don't know. So I'm seeing what the universe is unfolding for me there, but yeah, it's actually
Yeah,
really
the mother
powerful.
line is super strong, and we hold, the codes or the memories of our mother or our grandmothers. It's all there in our wombs, in our bodies, in our DNA. Of course, our fathers as well, but like, you know, as women, we were birthed by women, and we birth. So it's important to be connected to her as your womb, and most women are not. I wasn't, I know, and we just think of her as like, oh God, our period again. Like most women have this negative connotation about their periods. So, and it shouldn't be. It should be a celebration. Like it's really something that brings life. It makes us women. It puts us on this beautiful cycle of life. That keeps everything changing and nothing ever the same. And it allows us to course correct, to readjust. To change.
Yeah, like I think also the period, like when I get mine, I get happy because I'm like, oh, it's like shedding, it's
Yeah.
like clearing all that stuff out. It's like detoxing, technically. And it's like, yay, but yeah, I find that people look at the period as very inconvenient because it brings sometimes symptoms. You want to, you're a bit tired, and it's like, why you're not like in that go, 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 go mode. And I don't think we're meant to be anyways in go, go mode all the time. It's about working with your cycle and seeing, and again, I think also, yes, within your cycle, this is the time to do this is the time to do it. But I think it can be very, it's not a one size fits all. And that's why I get sometimes I'm like, it's okay, look at that guideline, but then connect it to you. When do you feel like that?
Yeah.
When do you feel like, fuck yeah, I want to do that? When does that connect with, because that feeling might look and feel a bit different than each and every one of us. And it might come in a different time that might not be exactly so,
100%. Yeah.
and maybe my relaxation and going inwards in my period might look different for somebody else, but it's about honoring that rest, honoring that whatever she needs.
But that's quite a radical move for that, because the world we live in, like the modern consumerist, busy, competitive world, is not set up for women's bodies or psyches or souls. Like, so you see this over medicalization of women's bodies. You see an over medical approach to mental and emotional health. And then you see women, like, and I suppose it goes back to that urge to please, which is so high in so many women. I think of it as the P's: please, perform, prove, placate, perfect, perform. I said perform twice.
Yeah.
There's sort of forcing ourselves to fit into these systems that are not set up for our bodies. And then we get issues, and then they get dealt with through more reductionist thinking. And then you're in this cycle of dealing with your body like it's a machine, and your certain parts of it are going to be inconvenient to you, and you're going to lose touch completely with the wisdom of the body or the wisdom of the feelings. Like people freak out if they feel sad. Feeling sad is necessary and natural and not a problem to solve.
Yeah.
Like we need to get our hands off our feelings, but and let them flow back to. I keep trying to bring it back to the water. You keep taking it to the womb, and I'm like, back to the pool, back to the beach,
back to the snakes.
Yeah, but this is like, it's all the same thing. It's all like what you've been drawn to, obviously, in your work. You're just doing some on land and some in water. You're doing the same stuff.
Exactly.
Just helping to re-inhabit that in a new way. And that's why we was talking about, like, the world needs women to be able to hold that center and not make themselves fit for consumption and not mold themselves into a system that's going to keep reducing them to parts. And I think therapies like this help you reclaim a little bit that territory. And then if you can have community around it, you've got something really powerful going on.
Yeah, it's all really powerful, both of them. The water, for me, the water is really magic. There's magic in the water. And it's just, I feel the womb stuff is there, and it's super important and super powerful. Somehow I feel like the water is more accessible for many. Because let's be real, like if you Google vaginal steaming, it's going to turn a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because there's no scientific evidence about how it's proven to help women.
Mm.
And it's not for everyone. And that's okay, you know? But yeah, like, okay, what about one of the main things that they say don't do, you know, steaming for is because it can cause infections or disrupt the pH balance. And yeah, okay, there's no proven test that it will. There's also no proven test that it won't. But, you know, there are proven tests that, you know, suppositories and antibiotics disrupt the vaginal pH, and yet they're okay to take, you know, so like there's so many things. I don't know why I went off on that, but I just,
It's
yeah,
also like Band-Aids, right? Like when you think of the like both what you're saying like the antibiotics, or like, okay, your period is like this, or it's inconvenient or whatever, these symptoms, let's put these Band-Aids, and because so that you can be again fit for consumption, so you can go back into the world and do everything. But we're not meant to be doing that. And you know, it's funny, like I tell my friends, sometimes when we make plans, I look and I'm like, guys, I don't know, I might have my period around that time and I might not be in the mood to socialize or to do jack shit. And they're like, what? Like, and for them, I think they get very like taken aback, and I'm like, why? My period's important. I don't know how I'm going to feel, and I don't know. So
And
if
you
I
need
don't
to
know, I
honor.
don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to you, you know, because she is me, and I'm going to give her my priority. And I find the more I do that, the more I work with my cycle, and I don't know, it's almost like we've become one.
Yeah.
And I've tapped into so much just by honoring that, honoring how I feel, honoring my body. Like my body, this is again, let your body work with you rather than against you. And then when it goes against you, then you go to a doctor to put you more against you.
Yeah.
And then you wonder why autoimmune disease and all these things and all this shit showing up. It's because you've moved so far away from your body, you're not even aware.
Yeah. But it's that thing that what's emphasized is outputs.
Yeah.
You know, we live in a world that wants outputs all the time. And there's this fake idea that if we just are okay or well, or, you know, our well-being is what it should be, or some such thing, that we're going to be able to be happy, outputting all the time, always in touch with creativity. But human beings are not convenient like this. We're cyclical beings, especially women, female bodies, you know, and it's just going to be, you're going to have to flow with that. Like there will be times when you're not in an output, you're in a gestation stage, or you're in a, you know, things are just sort of percolating, and then they'll come out when they come out. And if we can just accept, like when you're in the water, you're just accepting the different elements and the different parts of the flow session, you know, really living your life like that. But that's not taught to us. We're taught to erase that, to override it. And that's why we get up in our heads. It's like, I should, you know, think positive thoughts and pick myself up and go and perform. And this is horrendous. And the body doesn't let us get away with this. Not because our bodies are against us, but because they're wise.
Exactly.
And they'll put us down. You think about the strongest part of you. It is not your mind. It's your body, 100%. Yeah. So I think these therapies that you do, they really explore this territory. And like you say, like each person's going to explore them in their way. There's no, because that would be the opposite of what it is. This is the way to water flow. Would be co-opting it and making it into something it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful just to have this as a, you know, as part of your therapeutic approach to yourself, I think. I love it.
Because even with the yoni steaming, womb steaming, whatever, it's, I don't know whether it's, like you said, whether the data is there or not, but it's I think, for me, I think of the ritual of I'm putting you as a priority, and I'm going to sit with you and connect with you. And because it's actually a very relaxing process. It's really, really relaxing. So I'm going to make you a priority and connect with you and take care of you. That is already so powerful.
Yeah, you're building trust.
Yeah.
In that
you know,
sense,
like, for example, the water flow, like I'm dedicating this time to you, and to get the body comfortable and reminding that it's safe. It's safe to go into new territory. It's safe to allow yourself to let go. Just imagine, you keep reassuring yourself that, like, how will you show up for yourself in life? You know?
It's so cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool. So you're going to be offering these sessions again in October in
Yes,
Dubai.
right.
Is that right? Yep.
October and part of the beginning of November will be in Dubai in the sea still, because
Yeah.
it's warm and it's really nice. And then from mid-November on, it will be moving to the pool in Nasab,
In Al Barari.
near Al
Because
Barari.
they keep it warm for you.
Yeah, they keep it warm, and it's you feel like you're in nature, hear the birds chirping, and it's quiet.
So nice.
So yeah.
And then we'll put in the notes to this episode how everyone can find you on the website if they're interested in joining the womb steaming circles or trying waterflow. It won't be able to get in though, because I would have booked out all the sessions.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, she already from now booked the October.
And I was on with a girlfriend this morning and I've already booked, I need to book her for her birthday on the 9th of October.
Nice.
So yeah, so good luck
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your friend who you booked for actually booked again for today.
Oh, wow.
Her birthday. It was her birthday present. It's the best birthday gift, by the way.
Yeah, it is actually. It's a
Yeah.
nice birthday gift.
Yeah, it is.
A nice gift in general, yeah.
It's just, I really encourage everyone to try it because there's just something so elemental. Like there's something, we all come from water.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone responds to it in some powerful way. Out of all the people that I've, encouraged to try it, every one of them's loved it. But I've never, I have, no one's gone, yeah, it's okay.
But you've had people not want to go.
Oh, I've had people
Yeah.
be afraid to do it and just not even try it.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I don't think it's something which puts you in a meh space
Yeah. Once you do it,
Yeah.
it brings something up.
for sure. But I think for some people, yeah, because we've all got different learning histories with water too.
Mm.
And if somebody's had something bad happen to them in the water or they have a real fear of the ocean or something like this, but then even then you can use this. But
Yeah.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us about this.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me. Thank you for
Thank
helping me
you.
spread it all to the world.
Yes, I hope more people try this. Both, because it can again open you up to your potential, your power, and so thank you for being here
Thank
with
you,
us.
thank you, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.